Hello. Mind lab is ensure that nobody is coming before the camera because lot of disturbances before the camera.
We cannot hear you. Can you speak here?
Hello.
Yes.
Lab is getting my voice.
Yes, you are getting your voice.
There are lot of disturbance before the camera.
Oh, okay, okay.
Arrange a volunteer before that entry so that they could not disturb it. Because now it is started live streaming.
Okay, okay.
Anchor, where are you? Atiti, are you there at the backstage? Sir, can you please unmute and audio video?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's
But your
fine.
video is not.
Video also you want to check?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
A very warm good afternoon to each and all that is present here today. Ladies and gentlemen, enchanters of joy and seekers of the sublime, welcome to the extraordinary gathering of the International Conference on Happiness, Science and Practices 2024, an unparalleled initiative by IIM Ranchi, India, in collaboration with Reiki Foundation, USA. Today, we embark on a quest to decipher the language of happiness, a symphony of emotions, a dance of the soul, capturing the essence of science behind joy, wonder, and of course, happiness. I take an immense pleasure in inviting our esteemed dignitaries on the dais. Please join me in welcoming our chief guest and keynote speaker for the day, Madam Saraswati Kasturi Rangan, Chief Happiness Officer of Deloitte, founder of Reiki Foundation, Dr. Satinder Singh Reiki, sir, Director of IIM Ranchi, Professor Deepak Kumar Srivastav, sir, Chairperson of ICHSP 2024, Professor Tanushree Datta ma'am, and Co-Chairperson of ICHSP 2024, Professor Alan Joshua George, sir. Inaugurated just moments ago, the Mind Lab at IIM Ranchi stands as a testament to our commitment to holistic education. This innovative space is designed to cultivate not just knowledge, but also the well-being of the mind, an incubator of creativity, resilience, and indeed happiness. In the spirit of this unique endeavor, let us collectively explore the boundless dimensions of the human experience throughout this exceptional conference. Now, in the twilight of anticipation, let me also take in immense pleasure and gratitude in welcoming our Chairman of Board of Governors, Shri Praveen Shankar Pandya sir, who has joined us virtually today. I request our dignitaries to please proceed ahead for the lamp lighting ceremony, illuminating our path much like a lighthouse guiding ships through the stormy seas. I request the audience to also rise for the lamp lighting ceremony along with the Saraswati Vandana. I request everyone to remain standing for the national song. Thank you, everyone. You may please take your seats. As the journey of spreading knowledge and, of course, happiness continues, I would request our chairperson of ICHSP 2024, Professor Tanushree Datta ma'am, to give an overview of this amazing, one-of-a-kind conference.
So we will just begin with the inauguration of the Book of Abstracts and the magazine for the Happiness Center. So. Greetings to our Chairman, Board of Governors, esteemed dignitaries gracing this occasion on the stage, my esteemed colleagues, honored conference delegates, beloved students, representative from the media and esteemed guests. I am delighted to extend a warm welcome to each one of you as we embark on this two-day International Conference on Happiness, Science and Practice. I trust that this event will not only be an educational endeavor for you, but also a joyous experience as we relish the privilege of hosting such an esteemed gathering. The genesis of this conference, centered around the pursuit of happiness, stems from the visionary leadership of our esteemed director, Professor Deepak Kumar Srivastava. His foresight in conceptualizing such an event received an immediate endorsement from Dr. Rekhi, founder, Rekhi Foundation. Additionally, we are thankful to Saraswati Kasturi Rangan, our chief guest and keynote speaker of the conference. Ma'am, it's truly a pleasure hosting you here today. The outpouring of support from everyone present here, including our dedicated team of students, has enabled me to stand before you with a sense of gratitude and extend this heartfelt welcome. Believe me, it's really does feel happy to be addressing you from here for a happiness conference. The response to a call for papers has been overwhelming, with submission pouring in from both India and abroad. We have endeavored to include as many as possible for the presentation, fostering a diverse and enriching dialogue. The other highlight of this conference includes the Mind Lab, which has just been inaugurated, and I'm sure you witnessed it from the auditorium as well. You are cordially invited to visit the lab from your 2-day stay that you're spending here. beyond which also you're most welcome to reach out to us for collaborative research. It would be wonderful to discuss and research with people with diverse mind and perspectives on happiness. Thank you all for joining us on this journey towards exploring and understanding the science and practice of happiness. Thank you all, and a warm welcome.
In this space of enlightenment, let us hear the words of wisdom from our visionary leader, Professor Deepak Kumar Srivastav, sir, whose words will dance like fireflies in the night, illuminate our understanding, and spread insights and inspirations to all the young minds here.
Johar, Namaste, good afternoon. Chief guest of inaugural function, Mrs. Saraswati Kasturi Rangan, Dr. Satinder Singh Rekhi, founder Rekhi Foundation, who has always been guiding force, Chairperson BOG, Sri Praveen Shankar Pandya ji, my faculty colleagues, Professor Tanushree Datta, Professor Ellen Joseph, who are the conference chairperson, respected invitees, participants, faculty colleagues of the dais, staff members, students. At the outset, I welcome you to first International Conference on Happiness, which is being organized at IIM Ranchi Permanent Campus. This conference is a part of social impact initiative of the Institute. As the IIM Ranchi community know it, we have drafted a strategic plan, IIM Ranchi at 2030, and we identified 4 priorities. Among these 4 priorities, one priority is the social impact, and we have conducted a series of events in past 1 year, and this happiness conference is one of the event under social impact. Happiness is something which is at the core of IIM Ranchi, and each organization has the region of existence. Why organization? And if we want to know why organization, the answer perhaps comes from the vision statement. So IIM Ranchi vision statement says that we would like to be a leading institute where the students and the scholars would get opportunity of the holistic development. The same thing is reinforced in the motto of IIM Ranchi, Bahumukh Vikas Gantavya. The translation of Bahumukh Vikas Gantavya is holistic development is the destination. The moment we talk about the holistic development, happiness is essential. And when I joined the institute, had long conversation with Professor Tanushree Datta, and she told the kind of activities she planned for Happiness Center. And then I found a very strong alignment with Happiness Center with the vision statement of the institute as well as the motto of the institute. Then we had a discussion with respected Rekhi sir, and we planned to conduct a, this conference. We have some other plan, and we would like to offer more number of courses on happiness, and these courses would be, part of your curriculum and elective courses, and we are also planning to launch some certificate programs on happiness. In last couple of decades, we say there is a lot of attention on happiness, and there is corporate attention. The example is Chief Happiness Officer is with us, and few decades back, I don't know there was any title of Happiness Officer, but today happiness is something which is being considered an important, part of, corporate culture. And in fact, it has become a source of sustainable competitive advantage. And there are many authentic researches which says that happiness leads more productivity. So imagine if an organization has more number of happy employees, the productivity will be higher. And it will be very difficult to competitors to imitate that advantage. Hence, it can be a source of sustainable competitive advantage. It can also be considered as a core competence. There are multiple perspectives of the happiness, and of course, the scholars who are going to attend this conference, they will have a discussion on the happiness from different perspectives. There are multiple lenses. But one thing is very common and very interesting in happiness is something which comes through practice. And the practice of what? Practice of the thought process. The thought process, how we think and how we take the situation. There are multiple situations when we don't know what to do, and normally we are more concerned about the end. And the moment we are more concerned about, more attached to end, that would lead kind of attachment. And if we are not able to fulfill that end or the goal, that leads a lot of unhappiness. The fact is that we are surrounded by three types of problem spaces: known, unknown, or unknowable. Unknown is something where we can do analysis, in which largely known as a risk. Analysis is possible. We have some kind of a data set. But unknowable is a situation, most of the time we deal with unknowable situation. We don't know. We don't have exposure. We don't have a past precedence. And we don't have a data set which can be analyzed. And that is non kind of uncertainty. So what to do? If we are more, focused on end oriented, because end is unrealistic, and that would lead kind of, this kind of a unhappiness. So our scripture says that be happy whatever you have, whatever resources, whatever capabilities you have, focus on means and try to improve the means. And that is being, discussed in so many scriptures of Indian or ancient wisdom, the karma yoga. Nowadays, that is being supported by literature. You may find several organizations have an experiment manager or experimentation manager. The idea is when you deal with the uncertainty where you don't know what would be kind of, the end, which is unrealistic. So you need to be more focused on your means, whatever you have, and try to improve, do experiment, leverage the capability, and improve it. I would like to end here, and I'm confident that next 2 days would be, very meaningful, impactful. There would be a lot of discussion, and the outcome of this conference would be a significant contribution to happiness literature. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Sir, for your invaluable insights. Now, I'm really grateful to invite our Honorable Chairman of Board of Governors, Shri Praveen Shankar Pandya Sir, to share his insights and perspective on the International Conference on Happiness, Science and Practices 2024.
Honorable Shri Saraswati Kasturi Rangan, our chief guest of the program today. Shri Satyen Singh Ji, chairperson of Reiki Foundation. My director, Shri Deepak Kumar Srivastav Ji. Today's functions chairperson for mindfulness, happiness is Srimati Tanushri Datta Ji. Other persons involved in the happiness conference, and also my dear students. I'm sorry I was a bit distant because we had a huge function in Bombay where Chief Minister was there and I was involved in that function. So in the last minute, but I couldn't miss this particular function because it's closer to my heart. And so that's why I'm here in front of you. I must say that, it has becoming increasingly difficult for our students to compete in this environment because there is so much pressure on them to fulfill the expectations out of them being in the best institute of the country. And also then in real life terms also, competing every other day with friends and with colleagues. So it becomes very difficult to manage themselves. And in such situation, happiness becomes an absolute essential part of their day-to-day life. If they don't remain happy, they would not be able to excel and they would quickly burn out. Here, I would give you an example of our Prime Minister. who has been putting 16 to 18 hours a day, a very rigorous schedule and very challenging circumstances, very challenging situations. But he never gets disturbed by what he has to face and what he has to do. He does his work and doesn't care about the result. You see, you have to focus on your performance rather than on your competitors' performance or your colleagues' performance. You have to give your best. Whatever in you, you have to give it to the society, to the work that you are doing. Now, in this, you will never burn out. If you keep doing this, you'll never burn out no matter how much time you spend, because you're focusing on something that you like to do and you're capable of doing. Don't try to focus on somebody else's achievement. And this is what, in fact, our Gita also says that, you have to do your karma and don't wait for the results. The results will follow. And that is what is the essence of our culture and essence of our society. That is why you see in India, you don't find people, who, in spite of acute poverty for hundreds of years, they have lived a very happy and peaceful life. There has been some kind of satisfaction in them. And this is only because of, this happiness that they are pursuing. They are not, guided by always the results. In fact, I'm just, putting my thoughts here. We have all gathered here to listen to Saraswati ji and Satyen ji. So we are looking forward to hearing from them. But as a whole, I would say that, we have to look in our own ancient methods and mindfulness and, yoga, then also dhyan. All these are things which, after working very hard for, say, a number of hours, if you give 10, 15 minutes to yourself, to your body, to your inner body, to your thought process, you will find yourself much more happier person than otherwise. So with this, I would like to thank Amrachi, Director Tanushri, and everybody to host this program. I'm also thankful to Satyenji to have created this foundation, which we are part of, and I look forward to an successful conference. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir, for your invaluable perspective on ICHSP 2024. Now is the time to introduce the founder of Reiki Foundation USA, Dr. Satinder Singh Reiki, sir. Sir is the founder of R Systems and a founding member of the World Happiness Foundation. He is an electrical engineer graduate from IIT Kharagpur, and sir has received his master's degree in business from California State University. Sir was awarded the Distinguished Alumni Award from IIT Kharagpur and President's Golden Medal from California State University. He was conferred the title of Professor Emeritus by Chandigarh University. He is the Honorary Chairman of Reiki Center of Excellence for the Science of Happiness, IIT Kharagpur, International Advisor to Gross National Happiness Center, Bhutan. I request Reiki sir to please grace the gathering with his words of wisdom.
Good afternoon, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy to be here. As we were hearing the chairman speak, I was very pleased to hear the chairman say that happiness is an essential part of our lives. I appreciate what Professor Deepak Srivastava is doing. He's organizing this conference, but he also has a vision, which is all IIMs produce smart people, but IIM Ranchi will produce smart and happy people. I am very pleased to share the stage with Mrs. Saraswati Kasturi Rangan, the Chief Happiness Officer at Deloitte. It's wonderful now that the business community is also recognizing the need for happiness. And as Professor Deepak Srivastava said, happy people are more productive, they are more innovative, they research better, they make customers happier, they make employees happier, and they're more employable. So that's what we want to do. And this conference, you will find that you'll get to learn a fair amount of happiness tricks, happiness stuff. And I see a lot of good speakers sitting here, and you will be listening to them. Professor Mandal, who is a neuropsychologist, a very good speaker. Please make sure you attend this session. Professor Patnaik, he will also be talking to you, and Professor Shetty, he will talk about mindfulness and other things. So for everyone present here, I wish you 2 days filled with happiness, happy learning, thoughtful insights and sharing. And may this conference be the beacon of enlightenment and the path to a happier and more fulfilling life. Thank you, and let the happiness begin.
Thank you, Reiki sir. Now is the time to hear the keynote session by none other than our chief guest for the day, Madam Saraswati Kasturi Rangan. Ma'am is the Chief Happiness Officer at Deloitte, India. Ma'am is partner at Deloitte, director at Deloitte, India from April 2013 to April 2016. She has also been the senior manager at Deloitte from 2007 to 2012. She was the manager at Bharat Electronics from July 1918 to 2007. Ma'am has achieved her Chartered Accountancy degree from the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, Bachelor of Commerce, BCom from St. Teresa College, Ernakulam. Language proficiencies of Ma'am hold from fluency in Tamil, Malayalam, Kannada, Hindi, and English. Her academic background hails from Ambalamedu High School, Kochi. Without doing any further ado, I request Madam to please come to the podium and grace all of us with the keynote session.
Thank you, Aditi, for that introduction. Good afternoon, everybody. Happy afternoon. A special thank you to all the dignitaries on the dais and to IIM Ranchi for having me here. Indeed, a privilege. I didn't know this where the small perquisites one gets when one steps into the shoes of a chief happiness officer, but it's a lovely perquisite to have. So thank you, everybody, for having me here. I know Aditi did a quick introduction, but let me just add a little more masala to it. So you may be wondering, what credentials did this lady have to be designated as Chief Happiness Officer? I'm trying to find out. But I'm a tax partner in Deloitte, been with Deloitte for about 17 years. So Deloitte in India is larger. We have Deloitte India plus Deloitte US and India, and overall we are about 1 lakh of people in India. But Deloitte India has got about 25,000 employees, and it is to this organization that I belong. And I'm a tax partner. I don't know how many of you would have interacted with those with a finance and tax background. We are generally grumpy people. We keep looking at the Income Tax Act. We look at income tax rules. filling in those tax returns for our clients. Our clients come to us saying that, can you help me with this tax? And I say, you pay the tax. They say, oh, if I have to pay the tax, why I'm coming to you? And I say, okay, don't pay tax, but these are the exemptions. Are you sure you don't get interest and penalties? So you know how stressful tax people are. So I come from that background. I have zero HR background. I'm also a cancer winner. Maybe that is something that qualifies me to be a happy person, because when you see the dark side of difficulties in life, maybe you realize the value of life. So maybe that is one small qualification I have. Other than that, I don't know what qualified me to be here. So there's been a leadership change in Deloitte India, effective April 2023. And when the new CEO reached out to me and said, I would like you to be part of the exec, I certainly said yes. Who doesn't like leadership positions? So I said yes. And when somebody asks you to be part of the leadership team, you don't ask for job description, right? You say, Dekha jayega, I'll pick it up, I'll see what it is. So I wasn't expecting a title of Chief Happiness Officer, but when it was announced, I almost fell off the chair. I said, Chief Happiness Officer, what am I supposed to do? And I had about 15 days to go back to the leadership with my action plan, my 100-day action plan. Leadership is like that. Start doing things immediately. Show results. Happiness profile also has the same role. Honestly, happiness is serious business. So I had to sit down. I started asking people around, saying that, what is happiness? What does happiness mean? Somebody came back to me and said, happiness is a state of mind. And I said, 26,000 people, and you're telling me happiness is a state of mind. And I'm supposed to be the chief happiness officer for all of them. I don't know whether I was cut out for this JD. Then I started asking about more. See, when you're not happy with the answer, you ask more questions, right? So I did that. So somebody came back and said, maybe it's about having fun all the time. Maybe, yes, that sounded a little more palatable. But I'm not the partying kind, the spirited kind. I at best have an apple juice during the fancy parties. Music, dance, fine arts, these were other things that came up. I said, well, I've had enough about asking around people. I said, I've been in this organization for long and I consider myself a happy person. So why don't I look inside instead of asking people around? So I said, what are my attributes which I think make me happy? So I said, I'm passionate about my work, which is why I turn up to office every day, 17 years in Deloitte and before that in the industry. So it's been a long stint. So maybe having passion for your work is what gives you happiness. Then I said, how are the others considering me? Do they see me as somebody strong, somebody reliable, somebody inspiring? I said, maybe yes. Otherwise, why will the CEO offer me a leadership role? So maybe yes. So I said, maybe these are some of the attributes of happiness one needs to look at. But can I really come out with a roadmap for happiness for an organization with these inputs? Absolutely no. I said, let me do a little more research. So I started thinking. And of course, we have somewhere I got around to doing a little more research. And believe me, there are tons and tons of research, and I'm sure Ranchi would have contributed a lot to that. Tons and tons of research on happiness. So I started with Martin Seligman's Flourish. And there is a summary of this coming in. I don't know whether you would have looked at the Harvard Business Review series. They have a series of emotional intelligence. And one of that booklet is on happiness. I picked that up. Book chota tha. It was a small book. It has bold prints. So I thought, okay, this is a good start. And I realized that it is important to understand what drives individuals' happiness. Before I get into organizational happiness, an organization, the largest resource we have is talent. So I need to look at what will drive individual happiness. So somewhere around, I started looking at all of these resources and I thought I should zero in about 5 things. What were they? One is get people to have positive emotions. Can any of you tell me what is the most easiest positive emotion that can make one happy? Anybody? Brilliant minds here. Laughter, okay. Sorry? Appreciation. Success, okay. Sorry? Okay. Food. Don't remind me of food. I'm actually feeling hungry. So, well, I thought to me, and I think it comes close to appreciation, I thought gratitude was the most simplest emotion one could have, which one could make happy. See, if you sit back and think where you are and think of what all has been given to you, to me, I thought that was one of the strongest emotions that could keep one happy. But of course, there are a lot of positive emotions. You can look at care, hope, inspiration, curiosity, all of this love, all of this does trigger happiness in one person. So it's important to make sure that there is a positive attitude or a positive emotion in people. This was the first thing that I learned. But is that enough? We could all get bored sick if we are all loved and cared for all the time, right? We need to be engaged. We need to be intellectually stimulated. We need to be working on something. So I said yes. Staying engaged, doing what you like. This could be the second one. Relationships. Man is a social animal, so we need to be connected with people. We need to have people who we can trust. We need to be engaged with people. So I said relationship is the third one. And all of this does come from the book Flourish. Then the other thing is we need a meaning to life. See, I do something, I do a lot, I earn a lot of money. Is that enough? I have good people around me, but don't I need a larger meaning to my life? So that I thought was also very important for me to keep in mind when I'm charting my happiness agenda. So to me personally, one of the things which, and this is what triggered me to think that yes, you need a larger meaning to life was once I came out of cancer, I was at a kind of a crossroads. I was saying, is this a time for me to say that, yes, you've come out of cancer, you won the dreaded disease and forget about it, or should I do something about it? At that time, of course, there were mixed views, and as always, you always get unsolicited advice. There's no dearth of that. So there were many who said, "Arey, ho gaya, forget it, just forget it, go forward. Why do you keep thinking about it?" But I said I had a lot of support when I went through it. So one of the things I did after I came out of cancer was I worked as a part of Pink Hope, which is a cancer patient support group. And believe me, the kind of happiness it gave me, the kind of spirit it gave me was immense. So to me, when I was thinking of happiness, meaning, doing something meaningful, I thought was very, very important. Then, of course, at the end of the day, you should have a sense of achievement of what you've done. It can be anything. You would have done gardening. I'm a gardener at heart, so I will talk about gardening. So you plant a tree, you plant a lovely plant which gives you a wonderful rose, blooms the next day. There's a sense of achievement. So in anything and everything you do, there has to be a sense of achievement. So I said positive emotion, engagement, relationships, meaning to life, and accomplishment. I thought these are the 5 things which I could pick up. But did I really look at all of this when I was working? Because I'm going to talk about workplace happiness, right? So mine is not just, I'm not somebody who's going to be coaching individuals to be happy. I'm going to be look at workplace happiness. So I was thinking, did I think of all this when I was doing all my 17 years plus years? Did I think of all that? Why? What is the need for having a chief happiness officer in Deloitte? I started thinking. Then I said, let me look at the who the people in Deloitte are now. And I looked at my son, for instance, who's also an IM product. And then I realized he's already out, he's on his third job. I've been in Deloitte for 17 years. So to me, that is a little surprising. So I said, there seems to be a lack of stickiness in these youngsters, the Gen Z and the millennials, as we call them. So why is that? So when I started looking at that, looking at the younger generation, that was a source of learning for me. I said, maybe what clicked with me does not really click now. What drove me is not what things drive, are not things that drive the youngsters of today. For them, salary possibly is a baseline. If you don't pay me the salary I get, I walk into another organization which gives me what I think I'm worth. That was not the case when I was a youngster. So maybe the salary and the benefits are a baseline today, and what really drives them is possibly purpose, is possibly what an organization stands for. So I said, yes, there is a need for somebody to look at happiness in detail in a workplace. And again, I continued my research. So Gallup had come out with a report which said 23% of the employee population of the talent is just engaged. The rest of them are not really engaged in an organization. And what does lack of engagement really mean? It means that they are really not attached. They are not inspired by working in an organization. To me, that was a little surprising, but I started thinking, what would this really mean? The lack of engagement in youngsters in an organization, what would it really mean? So to me, it meant that it would be absenteeism. It would be higher attrition in organizations. So I said, this is something that really needs to be tackled better. So again, how do we really keep the newer generation in organization, the talent, emotionally and intellectually committed to the organization? So that is where I realized, yes, there is a need for, I was finally convinced that, yes, organizations do need chief happiness officers. So then my journey of learning from what applies, I talked about those 5 principles which I believed individuals need to have to be happy. How do I now convert this into an organizational infrastructure? How do I map it to an organizational agenda? So some thoughts again came in my mind. I talked about meaning to one's life. To me, that turned out to be the top one which an organization would need to drive. So what would that mean? It would mean that we provide purpose, we provide goal, we provide inspiration to the talent in an organization. So I said, yes, this is something that I need to look at. But then I started going deeper. We said relationship for an individual, it matters. How does that translate to an organization? So yes, teaming, connections within an organization, supporting each other. So in practice, when I started looking at this, I said it's important to make sure that we have a solid framework before I really jump into happiness. And that is how this sunflower, I'm sorry, I didn't realize it was already on the screen, but this is what I came out at the end of 15 days. So you may wonder, why a sunflower? I'm a gardener at heart. So it has to be something related to plants. So I said, yes, a flower is best representing happiness to me. So I came out with a flower and I said, typically, and all consultants do this, and I'm sure all IM products also do this. When you come out you're supposed to come out with a strategy. You come out with a PPT which has got a lot of bubbles, a lot of pillars. I said, I'm going to move away from those bubbles and pillars. I wanted petals. Why? Because happiness, whatever you talk about, they are all overlapping. So I said, I move away from this typical consultant approach of bubbles and pillars. And I said, my PPT will not have that. It will have petals. So I said, each of the petal will stand for what I think is important. And that's how I came out with the 6-petal sunflower. I know the original sunflower's got a lot more petals, but this is the happiness sunflower at Deloitte, and it's become a brand of happiness within Deloitte now. What is the first one? I talked about it. I said purpose. How do you really drive purpose? It's important for us to let the youngsters in the talent in the organization know what is the outcome of what you do on a day-to-day basis. You may be doing an audit. Somebody like me would be doing a tax work. But isn't there a larger purpose to it? Yes, it is. Do we call it out when people work on a day-to-day basis? Possibly no. So I said that should be the first step that we look at. Let each and every one of them know what is the larger outcome. So for instance, there was from our consulting practice, there was a group who were working on developing an application for microfinancing. So we were talking to them, what are you doing? I'm developing an app. Is that the end goal? They just couldn't think further. But what is actually the end goal? A microfinance is something which helps individuals in possibly tier 2, tier 3 locations to get a formal loan at much lower rates than what a money lender would give them. A money lender would possibly give them at 36% and they're going to be getting it at 12%. Isn't that the purpose behind what you're developing? So for everything, so we said, let us look at what we are doing, look at the bigger impact it has on the society, and then talk about it so that each and every one of the Deloitte talent is driven towards the purpose. So to me, the purpose was the first petal. Connections. We are, as I said, a social animal. And no organization can run without teamwork. And what should teamwork be based on? It should be based on trust, right? To me, trust is the basic. Of course, integrity is always the base. But when you talk about teamwork, to me, trust is the basic foundation of building any relationship. So I said we should encourage programs where individual realizes the value of trust and start working together seamlessly. See, competition is good. Healthy competition is always good. But at some point in time, it's important for us to realize that businesses are a relay. It's not really it's not a sprint where one person runs, and it is a marathon. So it is important for people to hand over the batons to the others. And these are not really possible without having trust. So to me, connections, trust, being mindful, and this is something that's very, very important to today's generation, as I realized. The tone which you take to them when you are giving an instruction, the tone which you adopt when you are providing guidance. The talking down culture is no longer acceptable. It's not acceptable to me, and I'm sure it's not acceptable to any one of you. So being mindful of the way you talk about, I thought all of these are important to nurture teams. So I said connections is my second petal. If you look at it, and this goes back to days when my dad always used to tell me, you always need a canvas to draw, right? And what is a canvas? Your canvas is your own health. And when we look at organizations, burnout, and so you talked about burnout in organizations. Burnout is very, very high. How do you make sure that you don't burn out? You monitor your physical health. You make sure that your mental health is strong enough. And one thing which I think it's important for the younger generation today to look at is developing the resilience. So when I went through cancer, that was the first thing that helped me, the resilience in me, the courage in me, which changed fear into hope. I think the resilience may be a little, maybe something that which we really need to encourage the younger generations to have. So I thought physical wellness, mental health, these are two pillars which are an absolute must. So I put that in. Work. We are always always nose onto our laptops in an organization like ours. So when do you really think when you are always bogged down? I thought it is important to give our people some mind space. And I said, let us have some relaxation even in office. So we said, it doesn't matter, you take a break. This is like the sharpening your axe, the woodcutter story that we've all heard about when we were young. You're all young. I'm a little above average, only a little, but. So I said, it is important for us to sharpen the axe. So I brought in the relaxation bit. And seriously, there is a lot that we've done on that front. And the other thing, which I'm not sure I saw it in the agenda of the happiness conference, was inclusion. I felt, and this I thought was something which was very close to the heart of the youngsters nowadays. It's very, very important to have an inclusive work culture. We always talk about diversity, and to many, diversity is gender diversity. Absolutely important. But I think it's important for us to go beyond gender diversity. Gender diversity, to my mind, by now, and I'm not claiming that we've achieved it. If you look, we are sort of more or less there. For instance, in Deloitte, we are about 38 to 40% of women overall. 50% is where we should ideally be. The challenges, of course, at leadership levels. We still have way to go. And it's important to build a pipeline of women leaders. So gender diversity is important, but is that enough? Absolutely no. We need to look at the communities beyond. So lots of learnings for me on the journey. I've looked at how do we make sure that the LGBTQ plus community feels included in an organization like Deloitte? How do we make sure that we don't leave out the people with disabilities? We've started consciously hiring, we've started consciously training people with disabilities because they are a huge population in the country. And would we be at the forefront if we don't have their contributions towards the GDP of the nation? Absolutely no. So veterans. So there is and I could go on and on. Inclusion itself is a big topic in terms of how do you really make people, cultural diversity, economic diversity. So there is a lot that we can look at from a diversity perspective. And I felt that irrespective of what was one's background, once they are in Deloitte, they should experience the Deloitte culture of inclusion. So these are some things which I've thought about. I thought it's important for me to talk less, but I don't know whether I've overshot my time. But I'm happy to take questions. And I'm here to learn. There is a lot of happiness around here. So I would pause here, and it'll be great if I could have some thoughts from all of you as well. Thank you for that. I think they are getting the mics.
So, ma'am, I have two questions. The first one is physical wellness. So, I would like to know more about what you are doing in Deloitte to drive physical wellness. This is my first question. The second question will be about diversity and inclusion. Apart from PWD's cultural, economic, and veterans, what other pillars do you think should be included in diversity?
Wonderful question. Let me start with physical wellness. So as an organization, we insist that every employee should do a fit check once every year. That has been a program that's been there. It's something that Deloitte offered. But what I realized was, and this is a problem that I still haven't resolved. How do we get employees to do what you want them to do? So I want them to take a fit check. At least those above 40, so it should be mandatory. I did a check, 25% usage. So the first thing we said was, It doesn't matter what a brilliant performer you are. You're not going to get anything more than an Emmy rating if you've not done your fit check. We were serious. We put this into the performance appraisals. And this is the first year, I'm yet to see the results. But we said, if you don't, we care for your health, so you better care for it as well. And if you don't do it, you're not going to be getting your rating. So you can please chill a little and make sure you take your physical fitness test. So that was one thing we did. The second thing what I did was I came out with I came out with a physical fitness challenges monitoring app. So you can do a walk, you can do a run, and we sort of gamified it. We captured it into an app which was run by the firm, and we created a leaderboard. So we said, if you walk, if you run, you use your app, or you can use your Apple's iPhones, whatever, and you can also use the Deloitte app. But all of that data can be inputted, and we created a gamification out of that. We said in each of the business, who's leading? We said, how much milestone have you achieved? So we had awards and rewards for those who achieved the milestones. If you ask me, is this a huge success? Maybe no. I would have wanted the entire 25,000 people to be in, but by now I've started being realistic in my goals. If I touch the hearts of about 50%, that's also a big goal, then I think I should consider myself successful. This is what I've learned from April to now. So it's a reason. And what we also do is, and we said we will convert all of these kilometers into a lap around the world. So we said one lap around the world is about 40,000 kilometers. So if we touch 40,000 kilometers, we call ourselves, we've completed one lap around the world. For each of the lap, the firm will make a contribution to a sports. We've chosen a Paralympic cause. And so it is a motivation for people to say that the more number of kilometers you do, you are doing, you're doing a social cause as well. So these are some things that we've done to make sure that the physical fitness is up. Coming January onwards, we are going to be offering an online fitness regime. So it's going to be there every day, open between 6:30 to 7:30. We've tied up with somebody who will do a fitness session. So that's something that's going to be coming in from January onwards. Your second question was diversity, equity, inclusion. Gender, I think, is baseline. Are we there? No. Do we have to be worried? Do we think it's only in India that we are not there? Absolutely not. Some of you may want to look up. There is a Women at Work report that Deloitte comes out with. Not that we should not be ahead of the rest of the world, but we are on par with the rest of the world in terms of various parameters, in terms of the number of women at work, in terms of the leadership, the women in leadership, the number of women who take primary responsibility for household chores despite being the primary earner. All of these parameters, the stress that women feel at work, the kind of microaggressions they face. So all of this, there's a study that has come out, and we are on par with what is there in the rest of the world. Not that that's something to be proud of. We definitely want to be ahead of the world, and hence it is definitely a focus area. Gender to me is baseline. LGBTQ plus, I think there is a lot of change. People want to be accepted as they are, irrespective of what is their sexual orientation. Is a society mature enough to accept it? Maybe not. Should we be mature enough at workplaces to accept people? Absolutely, yes. So is there a need to sensitize people? Yes. So this is something which I took on as a second priority. The third one which I've taken is, of course, people with disabilities. And I think we are grossly, I'm saying, grossly underrepresenting the PWD in the workforce. There is a lot that we can do there. The first one to my mind is skilling the people. The skilling, SK. I don't know whether the S was missed out. So we really need to get more number of people skilled with the right set of, in the right manner. Understand, and if you look at neurodiversity, it is even more in terms of the lack of inclusion there. Because we need to understand there could be over empathy there. See, it's good to be sympathetic to people, but understand the difference between empathy and sympathy, and understand somewhere that these are people with capabilities, and it is up to us to make sure that no, we don't match the square peg with a round hole, or whichever way it works. So it's important to have that matching of the skill set. And I think that is an area where we have really not even scratched the surface, I would say. Veterans, I did talk about it. We have a way to go. And especially, I did speak to somebody who would come out of the army, women veterans. And I think we are totally underrepresented in the workplace with women veterans, because they have a shorter duration of service with the armed forces. So they sort of retire earlier, and there is a lot of possibility of getting them into the mainstream workforce. So I think these are some areas. We need to go beyond this. Cultural inclusion, economic inclusion, these are things that we need to look at. If you look at the Western world, possibly, and I've experienced this when I get into global conversations, they talk about racial inclusion, and they say whites and blacks. I said, we don't have whites and blacks, we are all black, so, or brown. So I said, we don't have that problem. So don't get in. So we need to be sure that the kind of inclusion that India or the Asia Pacific needs is different from global, and we need to focus on it accordingly. I don't know whether I've answered your question, but happy to take more offline. Yeah. Whoever gets the mic first, I guess.
I have. Hello, ma'am. So, myself Priyanka from Tata Steel. So, I'm very happy to be here and listening to you, ma'am. You are very inspiring, and we are also looking at like how we can, include all this happiness culture. But my one thing which instantly came to my mind is that how you can calculate or how you can analyze that people are happy. I mean, you have health index, you have safety index, you have, different parameters, you have indexes. You analyze it, you calculate it that, yes, we have reached so much percentage, we have to go, so much far. So is there any happiness index or something which we can create, or what should be the parameters? Like all these are, right, you are absolutely right. All these are levers to have the happiness, but how to analyze it?
Wonderful question. And basically, you're trying to see on what parameters I'm going to be judged at the end of the year by my CEO. So thank you for that. For now, so there are two ways in which we are looking at it. Step one is, and as you rightly said, these are the levers, right? So for my first year, and I don't want to be over ambitious and get off my role, which I've just got into it. So I've come out with parameters for each of this. So for instance, as I said, one of my KPI for physical wellness would be how many people have I been able to sort of nudge them into better physical fitness? Diversity and inclusion, easy to get statistics, so I put in statistics there. So for the first year, I kept parameters for each of these levers, but I'm actually looking to see whether we can come out with something which is called a happiness quotient. There are some ways of looking at it. See, to me, there are two ways looking at it. Do I want to get judged on the outcome, which is what ideally I would like to? We are in a business. We are not in charity distributing happiness. So I would ideally want to be judged on the outcome, which means better engaged employees, higher performance, but that may not be something which, and the other one is we have what we call as a culture survey. So we've got a global talent experience survey, which Deloitte runs, and we have certain rankings coming out of it. So for now, these are the things that we've taken. We've said, if I get a better score out of the talent experience, then it means that I stand vindicated. So those are some of the things that we are looking at. But longer term, I'm totally with you. We need to come out with something which is happiness quotient, and I'm hoping that no institutions like IIM Ranchi will help us get there. I'm getting I'm getting a lot of suggestions, and now with AI, and there is no conversation where AI is not talked about. The best way to look at happiness is you have something like a vibe meter. You have something when an employee comes in. How are you feeling today? And you have a scale of 5 with all those emoticons, and you click on no extremely happy with a white smile, or no with a downturned smile if you're not, and measure that over a period of time with analytics. That is one suggestion that's come in. The second one, the AI enthusiasts have said, you don't even need to do that. You have cameras around. I haven't implemented it and it's way to go, but I'm just sharing these things. There's a lot of enthusiasm around happiness. They're saying that we will capture the smile of the person as the person comes in. We will determine the mood. I said, okay, so what will I do with all those moody things? So they've come back and said, you will then need to relate it, saying that, hey, in the month of April, if this is a kind of happy mood, did the mood increase during the month of September, which is the bonus month? So I have to find out what could be the triggers. And I've run a family day for Deloitte. We had the entire family coming into office. Honestly, it touched my heart. I think my job was I felt personally a sense of achievement because I could see the emotions in the eyes of the parents and the pride with the children, where they go and write, you are the best mom. My son also did that. I told him, you're a cheater because I would get ranked based on this. But having said that, it was a very emotional thing. So after that event, did the smiles change? So these are some things that are being discussed, but today I don't have a solution. So I'm going by the levers, the outcome of the levers.
Madam, very good evening.
Somebody will have to keep watch on the time. I hope Aditi will do. Yeah, yes, I'll take the
Very
next
good
one.
evening, madam.
Yeah.
So I'm Dr. Vamsi. I come from Tata Steel. I come from a medical background. So I have one question, madam. So whenever you do your annual health checkup, you identify a problem that the person is morbidly obese. This comes to physical wellness. He's morbidly obese, or he has some lifestyle disorders like hypertension or type 2 diabetes or hyperlipidemia. So how do you address this issue? And the second thing is, when you come with a mental health, out of stress or burnout, they get into bad practices of substance abuse or alcoholism. When you find a person is having such kind of physical comorbidities or a mental issue, so do you identify them and you map them? Based on this, when you know that this person is having an issue with his physical well-being and mental well-being, and he is not well relaxed, and there's a disrupted family because of the net result, he has a disrupted family. This kind of issues, how do you address these issues in Deloitte? And is there any way that you continue this kind of yearly, whenever you do this health checkup, you see the progress of this person, whether it's improving, the positive way or the negative way, and you map this person and family. And in case you have such kind of physical comorbidities or mental comorbidities, do you involve the family? Do you counsel the family as a whole?
Yeah, it's a very deep question. Honestly, we haven't reached the stage for now. My struggle is to get these people to do the physical checkups, right? That is the stage in VR. But I've had conversations with organizations, and as a part of my role, this is something that's come up where, and I'm happy to have an offline conversation on that, where there are platforms being built where after you do your checkups, it's possible to, it is mandatory for these employees to put the reports into this. We haven't got to that stage, but we are under discussion. You put your reports onto this platform, and the platform will read these reports and then categorize your employees into red, green, amber. And they will provide support in terms of providing wellness sessions, nutrition sessions for these employees to help them move from amber to green and red to amber. And the incidental advantage, and I know maybe it's my finance background, the incidental advantage is when you have a healthier population, naturally, your your performance is better, plus your insurance cost can also go down. So these are some things that we are under discussion, but today I don't have that from a physical wellness perspective. It is a journey. We are looking at that. Mental health, we have counseling helplines, and we have what we call as well-being Wednesdays, where we talk about how can you improve yourself, what kind of counseling is available within Deloitte, all of that. And honestly, when I'm pleased to say, and I don't know whether I should be pleased or not, the number of the usage of these counseling sessions have been reasonably good at about 14%, whereas I think the industry average is about 10%. It does get me worried sometimes, but I think at least people are using this facility. We actually ask the vendor, see, they cannot give us individual level information. Though if there are specific challenges, then they do reach out to talent and alert us, and then we do get into a conversation, very minimal touch part. So if we see a situation of where could be a potential suicidal intent to something, then we do reach out. Otherwise, we don't generally get into it because all these data is strictly confidential, so we don't get into it. But we try to do an analysis of what are the kind of challenges that prompts these employees to reach out to counseling. So is it family related issue? Is it personal relationship issue? Is it divorce related issues? And then we provide generic support for those kind of challenges. So it is, I would say, diagnostic, and then we try to provide support for those causes, but we don't get into individual conversations.
So when and I just I associate myself with the spiritual understanding of life, and I think the Indian knowledge system has a lot to do with the spiritual understanding of the life, because that is what we are in fact. And out of your 6 petals, no, can you not add some spiritual health kind of subject, because that is the basis of your journey, because we have to understand our existence not only at the physical platform, that is the body, not only at the mental platform, that is the mind, but we are distinct from the mind and body. There are a lot of studies happening on mind, body, and consciousness. So the consciousness per se is the spirit soul, and there is a big understanding in Bhagavad Gita about this, and the whole Vedic scripture is full of this knowledge. And if you really look at the philosophy part of the happiness, I mean, there is a chapter in Srimad Bhagavatam that talks about the jungle, the forest of happiness. And one is unhappy at the end until he understands his spiritual meaning of the life, or a person as a spiritual being. So I think there is a suggestion for you, because you have taken a lot of suggestions. So one suggestion would be to enlighten people with spiritual understanding of the life. So that is my opinion. So you can have a comment on that. Thank you.
Thank you for that, sir. I may look at it as a long-term thought process. For now, I'm trying to get my basics right and make sure that the people are more charged up to do their work. Maybe spirituality is something that can come in the course of the journey. I somehow believe that I'm less wired. Maybe that is why it didn't come in there. But it's a good suggestion. It's maybe an initial feedback for me as well. Yes. We can close? Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe since he's got the mic, I'll just take that last one question.
Yeah,
I'm around, so happy to take questions.
I'll not take more than 30 seconds to describe. Ma'am, your topic is very interesting, and I have been also working on happiness at workplace for last 6 years now. So the things that you have spoken about here is about, the examples that you have given. In research, we call it as work engagement, organization commitment, and job satisfaction, which actually you are calculating. And even I have calculated in my research, and we have come out with some models and validated instruments by which actually we can relate all these things to the productivity of person, and then productivity of that employer or performance of an employee to the business, right? And at the end of the day, we all are into business. At the end of the day, if we are not making any profits to the business, all this exercise doesn't make sense.
Null and void.
Null and void. And people like me
can actually talk about, all these purpose, physical wellness and men, but the managers on the floor do not understand it much. And it becomes very difficult for us to make them understand. And we have to quantify it, that how good it is for their business and do, but they do not have time. And there comes the criticism against HR, and there comes the criticism that this is all, extra gyan which people are doing and they don't have anything else to do. So that's why they are doing that. And you feel a little negativity, around a positive things that we are talking about, happiness and all. Because for them, results are important. For them, productivity is important. For them, money is important. And they have been, their entire life is with that. And their understanding for this happiness question is not that great. You add spirituality, you add anything else apart from it, if they are not understanding, it becomes difficult. How in Deloitte are you dealing with such kind of a criticism which comes where people are not able to understand the concept?
So one primary thing is that's why we moved away from HR to happiness. So there is, when you talk about HR, people still tend to, say, "Arey, unka kaam hai, wo kar rahe hain." Whereas happiness is everybody's business. So, which is why we moved away from HR to happiness. Has it solved the problem? No. So there are 2 or 3 things that we are doing, and I can talk about this for us because it's my day job. We're looking at tone at the top. We're saying, and we think, so one is we are having conversations where the CEO talks about the fact that the person on the ground should be happy doing what they are doing. So, and we're coming with something which is called a talent signature, which is again part of the KPI. And the first year, this is my first year as CHO. So we've really not come out with a formal framework around it. But we are planning to include what is called a talent signature in the KPIs. And this coupled with the 360-degree feedback, if somebody is not really seen as employee friendly, then there is going to be an amber against that person. So it is important for people to support the happiness initiatives. And I'm sensing that it is not something where people are taking a dhanda against. Nobody's taken a dhanda against me till now. And it's been 9 months now. The other thing which we are going to be doing, and this is going to be launched in January, we have just coming out with, we're saying that there is going to be a kind of conversation with the CEO followed with a focus group discussion where we take inputs saying that, hey, these are the initiatives which are doing. What do you think? What is working? What is not working? And this will be across levels. We will have focus group discussion with women. We will have with certain specified communities. We will have across so that people don't feel that I'm excluded. And based on that, we are going to be running sensitization sessions for the leaders as well as those at junior level. So my first initial impact was to create the ripple. And now it is to, I know I'm talking reverse. Now it is to support the foundation. So that's something that we are going to be, and you're really right. It doesn't matter what I shout from the top of the roof. The person who is working to them, their managers are important. So that's what we are trying to do. I know I've taken too much of a time. Apologies for that. And thank you for this wonderful opportunity and a patient listening and all those wonderful questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Saraswati ma'am, for the in-depth insight and thoughts on happiness and how Deloitte includes happiness in its culture. Now, we have time that is here to express our love and gratitude for the dignitaries of today. I request our beloved director, sir, to please felicitate our chief guest and keynote speaker of the day, Madam Saraswati Kasturi Rangan, with a token of love and memento. I also request Director Sir to felicitate the founder of Reiki Foundation, Dr. Satinder Singh Reiki Sir. As we all know, that gratitude is the fairest blossom that springs from the soul. And hence, I request Alan sir to please come over the podium to extend the vote of thanks.
Good day to you all. I can actually see the anticipation in your face, and I assure you that I will not take more than 3 minutes time. Today is actually a milestone for the entrepreneurial journey IIM Ranchi has already undertaken to promote happiness and well-being. I express my heartfelt gratitude to all the dignitaries on and off dais, and particularly the chairperson, Board of Governors who have joined us virtually, our Honorable Director, Professor Diva Kumar Srivastava, Dr. Rekhi Sir, Rekhi Foundation USA, our Chief Guest, Ma'am Saraswati Kasturi Rangan, our Conference Chairperson, Professor Tanshri Datta, dear delegates, faculty colleagues, staff, IT, all of the staff, my dear student volunteers, my heartfelt thanks to all of you for being here as we commence this two-day journey of exploring happiness. My sincere thanks to all of you for all your support and contribution in varied ways. Especially, we are grateful to the director, sir, for inspiring us to pursue and promote happiness. Thank you, sir. So I hope all of us will thoroughly enjoy, and we all will enjoy the fruition of this two-day program. Thank you once again. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan sir. I request everybody to please stand for the national anthem. Thank you, everyone. I request the guests to please proceed ahead for the high tea. The students are requested to please remain seated.